All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get the meeting started. First, we need to approve the June minutes. Did everybody get a copy of those and have a chance to look at them? Okay. Any changes to the minutes? Okay, then those are approved. The July minutes, we also needed to do those for approval. Any changes, comments? No?
No.
Okay. Then to get the meeting started, at our June meeting, there were some inappropriate comments made. Unfortunately, one or two people in the administration were named specifically. So even though I personally apologized to Kathleen for the comments that were made and for the fact that as chair, I didn't stop the comments, which I should have. Kathleen was kind enough to accept my apology, but because the statements were made in a public setting, I felt that the apology needed to be made in a public setting as well. So on behalf of the committee, we are apologizing to Kathleen for the comments that were made at the June meeting. And I want to assure everyone that there will not be any personal or derogatory comments made at our meetings going forward. Okay. We also want to specifically thank Kathleen and her crew because, quite frankly, this season has gone much better than we expected it to.
Massively better.
Yeah. We had enough lifeguards. The pools were open except for a couple rainy days. So again, as chair of this committee and on behalf of the committee, we want to thank Kathleen for the great job that the entire crew of hers has done.
Yeah. I thank you, lifeguards, for all your hard work.
Yes. Are there any other public comments?
Yes, Gary, this is Steve.
Yes, Steve.
I'd like to echo your apology and add my personal apology for comments that were made. And I also want to congratulate Kathleen and her team on what so far has been an extraordinarily successful year. I think it's a credit to all of them and their hard work that they have put in. And so I just wanted to offer my personal apology.
Okay, thank you.
You might want to identify who.
Oh, it's Steve Ransdell. He's one of the committee members. Amy, you had?
Just that the link is not online. I heard you say that you were having trouble just within your committee,
Right.
But the link is not posted online, nor are the agendas since May for the committee meeting.
Oh, I actually saw.
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't see it for this meeting, but I've seen it for the others. But I will talk to Michelle about that. And again, Stuart's still not here.
I was not able to attend the June meeting, but I saw the meeting online.
Yeah, the video was online,
Stuart.
but the link
Okay.
for today is not.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right, well, we'll bring that up with Michelle and make sure that that gets corrected going forward.
Gary,
Yes, Steve.
this is Steve. I believe I sent the minutes from the meeting, but I'm hearing Michelle and previously, but we were sending them somewhere else. So do I have a new contact for sending the minutes?
We're going to be sending them to Michelle. I had been sending them to Linda previously before you took over, and Linda was getting them out to whoever it needed to get to. But we'll be sending them to Michelle, and I'll make sure that you have the contact information for that.
Okay, and just one other question on this. Do you want the minutes posted when they're drafted, even though they're not approved until we meet the next meeting, or how would you like that handled?
I think what we need to do is go ahead and wait until they're approved by the committee, and then we'll put them out to be posted online.
As soon as I get Michelle's email contact, I will send the May and June that we just voted on.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments? All right. Moving on, the charging document that we had given to Stuart to go ahead and pass along to the board. Apparently, there was an issue with the term regular occupant. And Stuart, can you fill us in a little bit on what was going on with what the committee, what the board had to say about the charging document?
Yeah, there were issues as to discriminating against other members, and if you join, if I remember correctly, if you join as a member of the swim club, let's say, and but you're not an owner, you can't discriminate against someone that is a member of the swimming club, but not an owner. If they're a member, they're a member. They just don't have voting rights. So we can't do it.
I'm confused with the wording because the charging document was basically talking about people that were not pool members. It was not talking about.
But when they buy a membership for the day, they're a one-day member.
But the issue is them entering the pool ahead of people that have purchased a membership. And until they get up to the front desk and actually pay, you can't even argue that they are one-day members at that point because they haven't paid yet.
Have we had that problem this year?
There have been issues.
I'm talking about
with
this
people being in line. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Has there been that problem this season where I have no emails from any members that are complaining about not being able to get into the pool? I have not gotten one email. Have you know specifically of an issue where that has come up this season?
Actually, yes, it was in, in the forum.
It was something posted on that,
On the Ocean Pine forum.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
Say something, Gary. Just understand, if something's posted in a social media site or Ocean Pines forum or any of the Facebook pages, if something isn't specifically emailed to me or to the board with an issue, then guess what? It did not happen. The only time we can document that something happened is when we are told specifically, I had a problem this day at this time at this pool. I don't have any record of receiving any emails from any members of our swim establishment that was a problem. You cannot go by social media posts because a lot of times people just bitch, moan, and complain about whatever, but unless it's an actual fact where we got alerted to an issue where we had to pass some sort of policy or make some sort of decision, it just didn't happen.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yep. All right,
Didn't
moving on. Membership. One of the issues that we've talked about in the past is when families here in Ocean Pines have guests come for a week. and they're interested in going to the pools, but they either have only purchased a membership for themselves, which will not include the grandkids or other family members, or they don't have a membership themselves, but they would like to be able to attend the pools for a week or two during the summer. We had talked about, and Stuart had suggested that we look into making an idea and presenting it to the board for a short-term membership. This membership would be for a week or maybe 2 weeks maximum, and it would only be for up to 4 people in that family. So I think that's something that as a committee, we need to work on and put together some ideas and maybe talk about it at offline and at a future meeting and come up with how we might present an option for a 1 to 2 week membership. Any additional thoughts on that? All right, moving on. One of the questions with memberships has been whether or not people that own houses here in Ocean Pines and rent them on a weekly basis, not a monthly and not for a year at a time, but on a weekly basis. In the past, apparently it was an option for them to buy a pool membership specifically for their renters so that they could leave a card or a pass or whatever, and the renters could then use the membership. I'm not sure if that's still available or not. Stuart, would you know by chance if that's something that is an option when you're purchasing your membership?
All I know is that when when an owner purchases a membership, let's say the couples membership, or let's say couples membership, and it's for the people that are on their card. I don't know that there is a provision where we can have someone purchase a swim club membership for the season and just hand it off to whoever's in the house. I really don't know. I do have something to report on the idea with using a fob. Our software, the North Star software, has the ability to do that, but it's incredibly cost prohibitive. I had a discussion with Mr. Viola about this, and it's not something that's feasible. Also, you can pass the fob from people to people, and it will defeat the purpose of buying a membership. I could buy a membership and hand it to my neighbor who doesn't have one, and they can just use the fob and get in. So the fob idea is a dead idea. I just wanted to.
I thought the fob idea had to do with people who purchased a member to the.
It was, but it would take.
I knew that, but I thought that didn't, that doesn't happen.
Well,
People standing in line who have bought pool memberships, that doesn't happen.
So to standing in line, I went through a lot of our forms and just things that we have in Ocean Pines on the internet, and it seems to me that the intent of the pool membership is just simply to allow an associate member or a member to buy a block of tickets, i.e. the season, at a lower reduced rate. There doesn't seem to be any promise or intent for additional perks to being a member. So I think that is kind of stage one. Do we feel there should be additional perks? That would be cutting the line, things like that. And then I also talked to some folks that take the money and check people in. And I posed the question to them, if, is it feasible? Is it pragmatic, for somebody comes up there and they're a member and there's a long line, to have them come to the front of the line and cut, the people standing there. And their feeling was that it would create issue for people that are already there in line. Also, it would be really it would be very disruptive if they're in the middle of checking somebody in, taking their credit card information, things like that, because a lot of their process is also manual and things like that. So I feel like, we need to determine, along with pool leadership and the board, what is the intent? What is the end game of the intent of the membership? And if we decide we do want to add additional perks, what would those perks be? And that's where getting in first and things would come in. Now, what they did say was that when the pool is opening, say Montfort pool opens at 10, if there are people waiting to get in, and there are, they will call for members first.
They do.
Yeah. But as the day goes on, once that initial kind of rush is done, they didn't see how it would be practical to do that in those rare instances where there is a long line. So I think it's something that as we start to talk about this, maybe we do get pool leadership involved and they talk to their team as well. And that might help us come to, understand just what is feasible and what is not, especially if the fob idea is out, because the fob would take it away from the front desk and alleviate that. So if that's out, I think we have to do have some conversations and think about this a little bit more.
Nancy, I don't think we really ever envision burdening the front desk with two separate lines or something of that sort. That's why we had been talking for a long time about some sort of electronic means to get in, way before Stuart offered up that fob idea. We had been talking about some alternative to just burdening the front.
Right.
And,
So, yeah.
and one of the thoughts was if there were additional perks, more people would purchase the memberships.
Right.
But I think you're right. I think maybe what we need to do is see if we could get our thoughts together in a logical order and then talk to John and Kathleen to see what their thoughts on additional perks might be. And go from there.
And then on the membership form, we can list those perks. Your membership will give you this, and this. So it's more clear. And somebody, who does want to complain, well, I'm a member, I should be able to do this. It's clearly listed what perks are included in that membership. I think we can be a bit more clear. Yeah.
Okay. That's all very good. I agree. The next item on the agenda was the FOB, but Stuart's already taken care of that. The swim and racket splash. I happened to be over there with my grandkids a couple of weeks ago, and the actual surface on the pad, the kind of spongy area that is supposed to help protect the kids if they fall or whatever, is coming up in areas. It's it looks like it was scratched, and then the kids are picking at it. I saw a number of little kids going over to the edge and kind of pulling up pieces and tossing them around. I think it's just something that we need to send a note to John, or I can send one directly to info@OP and tell them about it, because it is little bit of a tripping hazard with the kids there. It's uneven. So I think that's something that I wanted to run by the committee, but I think we do need to send something to John so that can be addressed. The other issue with the splash pad is the ramp going down. I don't know if any of you have gone down that ramp in bare feet, but the wood gets extremely hot. Anytime you watch people going down that ramp, whether it's kids or adults or whatever, if you don't have shoes on, you're jumping and you're running. I'm just thinking that there might be a way of putting a indoor-outdoor carpet,
Or rubber-based something.
something to protect the feet as they're going down that ramp. Any thoughts?
I think that's fair.
Comments?
Yeah, I think that was a good observation.
I actually got an email from a gentleman about the stairs at Swim and Racket. I'm sorry, I'm jumping. The stairs at Swim and Racket are separate. Let's talk about that first. I was at Swim and Racket on Saturday, and again, that one set of stairs that most people, adults and kids, going in and out of is very narrow. And once again, there were kids hanging all over it. The lifeguards do on occasion ask the kids to get off the ladder, but it's almost a constant thing, especially when the parents are at the bottom of the steps encouraging the kids to jump down into them. We had talked once about adding an additional set of stairs, and I still think that may be the better option instead of just taking the current one out and putting in a wider set. But in either event, just having the one set of stairs has been a continuous problem for quite a while.
For years.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for years. We seem to talk about that every time.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I brought it up to, it was not Kathleen at the time.
Colby?
No, it wasn't Colby either. I don't remember the woman's name. It wasn't it wasn't the director of Aquatics. And because it was impossible to get into the pool and just as impossible to get out of the pool. It was a hazard. It was a safety thing. And the adults would joke about it. The older people would joke about it. And we turn to each other. You need a number to get in this pool. You have to you need a ticket to get in the pool. But the parents encourage it, and that's fine. They want their kids to have fun. And we all know that because there is no baby pool, that shallow area is the kids. It's their baby pool, essentially. So, and having another set of steps or a wider set of steps, I think that would just be more kids. I think, forgive me, but I think the solution really is, and if there's a rule, if there is a rule that you can't hang on those steps, then that rule needs to be enforced.
So speaking of, I did some research online, and when you go in and you click on the specific pool, there was only one pool, and I believe that was the Yacht Club pool that had rules and regulations attached to that pool online. The rest did not, and the Yacht Club one did not have that as a rule in their online posting. Yes, at least I didn't see it, and I read it a couple times, but I'm not perfect. So I think maybe a place we can start is suggest that when you click on each pool, Every pool has rules and regulation, live link that you can click on, and we add that to the rules and regulations. Now, we all know people don't read, and when they do read, they see what they want to see. So that's just human nature. I understand that, but I feel like at least if it is written and displayed, it gives the aquatic staff a bit of a leg to stand on when they do say to parents, please don't have your children, hang on the steps, or to the older kids, ask them to move. So I think that could be a beginning step, but it's not going to solve the whole issue. But I thought that was interesting that I didn't see that.
I thought, I don't know, my head, I thought it was a rule. No hanging on the step, or no loitering on the steps. I mean, adults are guilty of it too at the yacht club,
At the yacht club yesterday, the steps going in, were packed with mostly adults.
Right, that's,
Sitting
yeah.
there, And the,
No, I
gu- and
get
the
it.
guard,
Right,
the
but at
guard
least they're,
actually
yeah.
asked them,
Pull
you
back.
gotta come over, give people a chance to get in now. The yacht club steps going in are much easier, and there's more space for people to get in and out. So that's a little bit easier for the guards to maintain an opening. With the one narrow set of steps to swim and racket.
Which is a gangplank, basically, kind of.
It is.
Yeah, right, whoever
a
gets it.
moving-
Why
it's a
isn't there,
moving thing.
excuse me, why isn't there a problem with the inside pool? There is no baby pool. The children have to go down those double steps, because the handles are in the middle, and there's never an issue.
Because it's shallower in the pool by those steps,
In the inside pool
in the inside pool.
versus
Yeah, so the kids are actually able to stand up.
once they get down the steps.
Right.
Whereas this one we're talking about, that's a hold on.
Right. At swim and racket, the water in the shallow area is too deep for most of the kids to stand up there.
But if like we're talking about the steps all the time, can't they just be bigger?
Did you find it?
No.
Even wider.
Wider, yeah.
Well, and that's one of the suggestions that I personally think we should make, is that whether they keep the current stairs or not, there should be a set
And
of
a second
wider
one, right.
stairs in the same area.
Yeah.
You can't put it over where the swim lanes are. The other end of the pool, it's too deep.
Right.
So it would have to be basically next to the set of stairs that are there now,
Right.
which, shouldn't be that big of a
Idea.
problem.
Yeah.
And that way, not only is it wider so that you can get more people in and out, but if there's a problem with getting somebody who's injured in the pool out of the pool, the guards will have more space to be able to take them out easier.
Well, do we know if the aquatics leadership, do they have any plans, or do they have any thoughts or ideas on it? Because they may have also been discussing it and have some other ideas, or at the very least, reasons why we can or cannot, before we recommend.
Stuart, can you take that question to, I guess, John, and just find out if there's any thoughts on putting a second set of wider stairs in? And if they've got a plan, let us know and we'll kind of drop it. If they don't, then we can get to work on maybe another charging document for the board.
Wouldn't Kathleen have that information?
She probably would, but it would be most appropriate if Stuart went to John and Kathleen.
And Kathleen, yeah, I would include Kathleen, definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
Guys, Kathleen's online. Are you there, Kathleen? If you want to chime in, it's okay with Gary.
I'm sorry, say that again, Stuart.
I think Kathleen is in the meeting, with your
Oh,
permission.
yes, she is. I'm sorry, Kathleen. Um, Kathleen, if you're there, can you tell us if there's any thoughts on the stairs?
The stairs that are at Swim and Racket are ADA compliant. They are the appropriate width for ADA accessibility. They were put there originally because when the pool was redone, they put the stairs that are built into the side of the wall, which in particular older clients and guests had difficulty climbing up. I went on a site visit to Salisbury University. That's the method that they used, and they were very, very pleased with them. The last set of stairs that we got, I could give you the exact date, but I think they lasted 8 or 9 years, but don't hold me to that exact thing. The stairs that are in there now are brand new at a cost of approximately $10,000. I personally go to that pool 3 to 4 times a day, and it is very rare that I have to remind the lifeguards to get a child to come off the stairs. So it is being enforced by the lifeguards. You should also be aware of the fact that the stairs are pulled daily for the swim team. So increasing width, I believe, increases weight, therefore increasing the possibility of a lost time accident for having to pull the stairs in and out. I think adding an additional set of stairs solves no issues. It's something we just have to manage through. You can put 5 sets of stairs there and you're still going to have, because of the depth of the swimming pool, it's something that we just have to manage. It is something that we talk about. It's something, if I come into the pool and I see it, I don't address it. I make the guards get up to it and address it to reinforce the fact that that is what needs to be happening. So that's the what's going on with the stairs at Swim and Racket.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Welcome,
Kathleen.
Kathleen. We didn't know you were there.
Okay, well, I guess, yes, Stuart.
With your permission, Kathleen, I was wondering if I could ask her a question. And maybe
On with me, go ahead.
Racket, I mean, the splash pad, the hot area, maybe she has some sort of plan. I don't know, but since we have her here, I thought it might be a good idea
So Clint and I, Clint is my colleague and my counterpart in Public Works, in an equal responsibility for the success that Aquatics has, as my team visited Jolly Rogers on site last week. And we actually followed them with the rubber rock. Jolly Rogers had it, and then we elected to go with it. Jolly Rogers found in the outdoor environment with pounding chlorine, which is what we have at Racket as opposed to Core, that their flooring was not faring well. They've gone to a new type of flooring that Clint and I went to see last week, understanding clearly that we needed to make a capital request to have the floor redone before Memorial Day next year. And we are in the process of contacting the contractor that put it in, that Lance at Jolly Rogers said that they were extremely pleased with. They were super to deal with. So we will be presenting as a department a capital request to John Viola, and he will present to the board in budgeting to redo that. Indoor outdoor carpet is not the solution because you're just going to have a mold environment at that point. More so probably if we got stripping that is on similar to what's on the stairs. But at the end of the day, it's no different than the pavers at the yacht club. If you walk barefooted at the yacht club and you step on those black pavers, I mean, it'll take the skin right off the bottom of your feet. So, you know, we certainly can look into that option. I don't think carpeting is the way we want to go, but I would be more inclined to go to Clint and see what he thought would adhere to a newly painted surface. But like I said, I know at least most of you have been to the yacht club, and if you've ever made the mistake to get off your lounger and walk barefooted, then most times you'll go back and get your shoes. So the pools are just, the flooring is very hot.
Okay, thank you.
Tipping in.
Okay, and Kathleen, you'll let us know when you find out if they're going to redo the surface and the splash pad?
No, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The
Oh,
splash
okay.
pad is going to be redone prior to opening Memorial Day weekend. The only thing is we'll probably go to a different type of flooring, because of the fact that Rubber Rock has demonstrated clearly in that outdoor light with pounding chlorine that it's not holding up as an investment for us.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that somebody's dog?
Sounds like that. All right, moving on to one other issue that I got an email about. It's the ladders, actually just two of the ladders at the yacht club pool. Two of them are still have the metal rungs, which apparently are slippery. The letter I got is this. I'm writing to you regarding a request concerning the yacht club pool. The pool has 3 ladders for entering and exiting the pool. The ladder at the shallow end has slip-proof plastic rungs that allow swimmers to exit the pool safely. The 2 ladders in the deep end have slippery metal rungs that are pretty unsafe. Last year, while I was getting out of the pool on one of the metal ladders, my foot slipped and I put a big gash in my shin. The lifeguard staff was very kind and helped bandage the wound. I would like to request that the 2 metal ladders be replaced with rungs that have the slip-proof plastic rungs. I've written to Ms. Cook several times last year about this issue, but I've yet to receive a reply, so I thought I would write to you and see if the change could be made. Respectfully submitted, Doug Bowen.
Gary.
Yes, Kathleen.
So I think that people will find that I always respond no matter what. What happens sometimes with my email is it holds the middle initial in the whereas most is like Clint Parks is C Parks. I have not received that. It would just be a matter of design of what. It's not just a pull amount. I can't just pull one from Mumford's and put it in yacht. So we'd have to look to see if that was available. But really, I was not made aware of that a complaint. So I just wanted to go on record as saying that.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Now that we know that there is a possible issue, can we look into possibly doing something for the ladders for next year?
Yeah, yes, I can. Again, that's going to be a capital request, so we can do see number one if we can find the ones with the plastic treads, and if the treads can just go in, that's a relatively small. That's not obviously not a capital request,
Right.
but if we would have to retrofit with all new ladders, then I'm going to be honest with you, Gary. I don't have any idea if they're $1,500. If they're, but yes, we certainly can look into that. But I will tell you, it's the only complaint that I've heard where somebody was injured coming out on those stairs.
Yeah, I hear you. Since the letter came to me or the email came to me, I promised the gentleman that would bring it up at the meeting. So you're aware of it now, and I'll just get back to him saying that it's being looked into and leave it at that.
Kathleen, if we should get emails or letters, any correspondence or phone calls, would you want us to forward directly to you once it reaches our desk?
So I think that's an answer that I would defer to John, because I think that there is a appropriate pathway through your liaison, I think, to the board president, to John. So I would absolutely not be in a position to answer that question because it's beyond the scope of my authority.
Okay. Well, what we'll do is,
Harry,
yes, Steve.
fines.org. which is our normal, and that way the board has a record of a complaint, and it can then get triaged and sent to whomever is appropriate to handle it. And I hope that addresses Kathleen's concern about, keeping her responsive in the correct order to the chain of command, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, well, I think you're right that any of these should be going to info@op. But if we get one sent to us individually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a copy to Stuart, and if it's something like this specific with an issue, I'm going to send it to info@op, and we can then discuss it at the next Aquatics meeting and just say what we did.
Right, and then I would forward it to the president, and then he or she would forward it to John.
Right. Okay.
Okay, I think I'm done.
Are there that's everything that was on the agenda for today. Is there anything else that we need to talk about or that was not brought up?
The other thing that I have a comment with this info, I'm the type of person, I need to have confirmation of what I am submitting. Where is that coming from, the confirmation? Yes, we got your information about that ladder, and we're going to take care of it.
Every time I've sent something to info, Linda has gotten back to me
Okay.
either the same day or the following day saying, thanks for the information. I've sent a work order to whoever.
Right.
So you do get a response.
Okay, but then do you also get a response when the job has been completed? Yes, we've taken care of this, so we don't have to discuss this again next month.
I don't remember getting anything saying it's been taken care of. I've gotten the note saying it has been turned over and it's a work order. And then I personally seen that it was taken care of a day or two later, but.
So the only way you would know is if you went to the pool and you saw a new ladder in place the following year, if you remember.
Well, with the ladder situation, yeah, I guess what we're gonna have to do is just see if there's new ladders next year.
So that would have to be put in your notes for next year, then
Yeah.
check that.
Yeah.
And I think also too, we have to remember that not everything we get, it's going to be feasible to make changes. So,
Right.
I think if we're committed to explaining, we cannot make this change, and this is why. At least, sometimes if somebody doesn't get necessarily what they want, but they understand why,
Right.
I think it can put it to bed nicely, which is,
Sure.
we want to hear them and give them explanation.
I think if it's a safety issue, my personal opinion, it's a safety issue. I think it needs to be bumped up a little bit and not inundate poor Linda's, email inbox with tons of other things that she has to sort through and disperse. If it's a safety issue, that needs to be, in my opinion, bumped up.
Right.
And
I want to
handled
see it.
immediately.
Yeah.
Right. I want to see it. So was that.
Yeah, Stuart.
Yeah, if it's a safety issue, you can bet Navy beans that Kathleen's staff knows about it and she's been alerted. But if you wanted to make sure, email me. I'll talk to the president and we'll talk to John and I'll make sure that it was taken care of. But guaranteed, her staff is on this like a stink on poo. They're not going to let any safety issues not get addressed. That's why I think it was really important that Kathleen was here. Thank you again, Kathleen, because this way things can get answered, and especially because this stairs issue comes up every month about the kids hanging on the stairs. And I'll be honest with you, I do see the lifeguards chasing the kids off the stairs. And thanks again, Kathleen. But safety issues, these guys are all over it. They're all about it. She doesn't want to have any accidents at these pools.
I appreciate that, and I agree with you. Kathleen is impeccable in her devotion to safety. I absolutely agree with that. I'm just saying if it's an important safety issue, I would not want to just send it to info@Ocean Pines.
So we'll send it to Stuart.
We can send it
Yeah.
to Stuart. He can disperse it and go through whatever to go through. Whatever hierarchy is established, which still confuses me to this day.
All right, is there anything else that we need to go over? All right, if anybody comes up with things for the agenda for the next meeting, let me know. And I take it everybody has on their calendar that it's the second Monday of the month here. And with that, we'll close the meeting. Thank you. Thank you, Kathleen, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.